Welcome back. In the previous session, we explored what artificial intelligence is, its history, and saw practical demonstrations of how it works. I hope you've had time to experiment a bit with the tools we mentioned. Today we're going to take a crucial step. We're going to move from theory and dive fully into the real world. We're going to explore how AI is transforming entire industries, from healthcare to finance, from retail to manufacturing. Before getting into specific cases, we need to clarify a term that's used a lot, but few people really understand: digital transformation. There are three concepts that sound similar but are fundamentally different. And understanding these differences is critical because many organizations think they're transforming when they're really just digitizing. First, digitization. This is simply converting something analog to digital. For example, scanning paper documents and saving them as PDFs. Taking a physical file and putting it in the cloud. It's basically changing the format, but the process remains the same. A concrete example. Imagine a bank that used to keep loan applications in physical folders and now keeps them in a Google Drive folder. That's digitization. They changed the medium, but the process of manually reviewing each application remains exactly the same. Second, process digitalization. Here we go a step further. We don't just change the format, we automate and optimize processes using digital technology. Back to the bank example. Instead of just digitally storing applications, they now have a system that automatically verifies customer information against databases, calculates credit scores, and generates a preliminary report. The loan officer still makes the final decision, but the process is much more efficient. This is what most companies call digital transformation. But actually, it still isn't. It's just making what they already did more efficient. Third, true digital transformation. This is where things get really interesting. Digital transformation isn't just doing the usual things more efficiently. It's completely reimagining how your business works, what value you offer, and how you deliver it. Digital transformation means using digital technology to create fundamentally new ways of creating and delivering value, changing business models, customer experiences, and core operations. Continuing with our bank, digital transformation would be when they implement a machine learning model that analyzes thousands of non-traditional variables, digital behavior patterns, alternative data from utility payments, and grants instant credit to people who never would have qualified in the traditional system. And it all happens in an app in less than 5 minutes, without human intervention. See the difference? They're not just doing the usual faster, they're offering a completely new service to a market segment they couldn't serve before, using an operating model that was previously impossible. And this is where AI enters as a catalyst. AI isn't just another technology tool. It's the technology that finally makes real digital transformation possible at massive scale. Why? Because AI can. First, process and find patterns in massive amounts of data that would be impossible to analyze manually. We're talking about millions of transactions, images, documents, behaviors. AI can find signals in that noise. Second, make complex decisions in real time based on multiple variables. It doesn't need constant human supervision for every case. It can generalize from examples and apply that learning to new situations. Third, personalize at scale. It can offer a unique experience for each individual customer, something that before was only possible with one-on-one human service that didn't scale. Fourth, automate complex cognitive tasks that previously required years of human training. Reading and interpreting legal documents, diagnosing diseases from medical images, writing code, designing products. These capabilities are what are finally allowing companies to completely reimagine their business models. And what we're going to see now are concrete examples of how this is happening in different industries. Now we're going to tour 6 key industries and see specific examples with real company names, concrete cases, and impact metrics. Not abstract theory, but transformations that are already happening. Healthcare is probably the industry where AI is having the most profound and direct impact on human lives. And it's not future, it's happening now. Case 1. Image diagnosis. A company called Zebra Medical Vision developed AI algorithms that analyze X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs to detect conditions ranging from fractures to lung cancer. Their models have been trained on millions of annotated medical images. The result? In clinical studies, their AI detects certain conditions with accuracy equivalent to or better than experienced radiologists. But here's what's transformative. An expert radiologist can review perhaps 40 to 60 complex studies per day. The AI can review thousands without getting tired, without losing concentration, 24 hours a day. Does this replace the radiologist? No, but it transforms their role. Instead of spending hours reviewing routine studies, the radiologist now focuses on complex cases that the AI flags as requiring special attention. They become an expert supervisor of a system that amplifies their capacity. Case 2. Drug discovery. Traditionally, developing a new drug takes 10 to 15 years and costs over $2 billion. Most of that time goes into identifying promising candidate molecules and initial testing phases. Companies like Atomwise use deep learning to predict how millions of different molecules will interact with specific biological targets. What used to take years of laboratory experimentation can now be simulated in days or weeks using AI. A concrete example. In 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic started, Atomwise used its AI platform to analyze a library of over 10 million compounds searching for potential treatments. They identified several promising candidates in a matter of days. In the traditional process, this would have taken months or years. Case 3. Healthcare access in remote areas. In Latin America, this is particularly relevant. A Brazilian startup called Laura developed an AI-powered telemedicine platform. The system does initial patient triage through an intelligent chatbot that understands symptoms described in natural language, asks appropriate follow-up questions, and decides if the case requires immediate medical attention or can wait. For remote communities in Brazil, where the nearest doctor may be hours away, this means people can receive basic medical guidance immediately, and truly urgent cases can be identified and prioritized. The system also helps doctors with diagnoses by suggesting possibilities based on symptoms, history, and local epidemiological patterns. In financial services, the financial industry was one of the first to aggressively adopt AI, and for good reasons. It handles massive amounts of transactional data, and the ability to detect patterns has immediate, measurable value. Case 1. Real-time fraud detection. MasterCard processes billions of transactions annually. Each needs to be evaluated in milliseconds to determine if it's legitimate or potentially fraudulent. Their AI system, called Decision Intelligence, analyzes each transaction considering over 100 variables. These variables include the obvious, like amount and location, to subtle behavioral patterns. Is it typical for this person to make purchases at this time? Is the typing pattern in the app consistent with the user? Is the speed of movement between geographic transactions physically possible? The result? 50% reduction in false positives. Those frustrating situations where your legitimate card is blocked because the system thinks it's fraud. At the same time, improved detection of actual fraud. This translates to hundreds of millions of dollars saved annually. Case 2. Democratization of credit access. Let's return to Nubank we mentioned in the previous session, but now with more detail. In Brazil, until a few years ago, over 50% of the adult population didn't have access to formal credit because they lacked traditional credit history. Nubank developed machine learning models that evaluate credit risk using alternative data: utility payment history, cell phone usage patterns, app navigation behavior, even how users fill out forms. These are called alternative data. The system found that certain behavioral patterns are reliable predictors of ability and willingness to pay, even without traditional credit history. A person who consistently pays their electricity bills on time, frequently checks their balance, and interacts deliberately with the app has a low probability of default. The impact? Nubank has given credit access to over 80 million people in Latin America, many of whom never would have qualified with traditional methods. And they do it with controlled delinquency rates, demonstrating the model works. Case 3, robo-advisors and investment democratization. Companies like Wealthfront and Betterment in the United States, or GBM Plus in Mexico, use AI to offer automated investment management. Algorithms analyze client risk profile, financial objectives, time horizon, and automatically build and rebalance diversified portfolios. What's transformative here is access. Before, personalized professional investment advice was only available to people with hundreds of thousands of dollars minimum. Now, people with $1,000 or less can access sophisticated investment management for a fraction of the cost. This is real democratization of financial services. In retail and e-commerce, retail has been transformed so profoundly by AI that it's almost unrecognizable compared to 10 years ago. Amazon is the obvious example, but there are fascinating cases throughout the industry. Case 1. Hyper-personalized recommendation systems. Amazon's recommendation algorithm is legendary, and with good reason. It generates approximately 35% of all its sales. Think about that. More than a third of everything Amazon sells is because their AI suggested the product to the right customer at the right time. But it's not just Amazon. Netflix saves over $1 billion annually in subscriber retention thanks to its recommendation system. How? Because people who consistently find content they like don't cancel their subscriptions. The algorithm analyzes what you watched, when you watched it, if you finished the content or abandoned it, on what device you watched it, what other users with patterns similar to yours have enjoyed, and even which thumbnail cover generates more clicks based on your visual preferences. Case 2. Inventory and logistics optimization. Mercado Libre, the Latin American e-commerce giant, uses AI to predict product demand weeks in advance. Their algorithms analyze historical purchase patterns, seasonality, search trends, external events like weather or festive dates, and even sentiment on social media. With these predictions, they can strategically position inventory in their distribution centers. If AI predicts high demand for umbrellas in Bogota next week due to rain forecasts, they already have stock pre-positioned nearby. This reduces delivery times from days to hours. They also optimize delivery routes in real time. If there's unusual traffic or a blocked route, the system automatically recalculates the best alternative for all delivery drivers simultaneously. This has reduced their logistics costs by approximately 20% while improving delivery times. Case 3. Dynamic pricing. Uber and other transportation platforms popularize dynamic pricing or surge pricing. AI adjusts prices in real time based on driver supply, user demand, city events, weather, historical patterns, and even holidays. The goal is to dynamically balance supply and demand. In traditional retail, companies like Walmart are implementing similar systems where prices can adjust several times a day based on competition, inventory, and predicted demand. In manufacturing might seem like a traditional industry far from technologies like AI, but it's actually experiencing a revolution called Industry 4.0. Case 1. Predictive maintenance. General Electric has giant industrial turbines operating in power plants around the world. Each has hundreds of sensors monitoring temperature, vibration, pressure, speed, and dozens of other variables in real time. Their AI systems analyze this data continuously and can predict potential failures weeks or months before they happen. The algorithm detects subtle patterns a human would never notice: a specific vibration gradually increasing, temperature fluctuation at particular times, combinations of factors that have historically preceded failures. The economic impact is enormous. A turbine that unexpectedly fails in a power plant can cost millions in emergency repairs and lost production. Predictive maintenance allows planning interventions during scheduled windows, reducing costs by up to 40% and avoiding unplanned stops. Case 2. Visual quality control. In traditional production lines, human inspectors review products looking for defects. It's tedious, exhausting work, and prone to human error, especially after hours of repetitive inspection. Companies like Landing AI, founded by Andrew Ng, one of deep learning's pioneers, develop computer vision systems for quality inspection. High-resolution cameras capture images of each product, and AI algorithms analyze them instantly, looking for defects that can be microscopic. These systems can detect scratches of fractions of a millimeter, color variations imperceptible to the human eye, irregularities in welds, and all kinds of defects. And they do it at the speed of the production line, inspecting hundreds or thousands of units per hour without getting tired or losing precision. An electronics manufacturing company in China implemented this type of system and reduced its defect rate reaching customers by 90%. This not only saves rework and return costs, but protects brand reputation. Case 3. Intelligent collaborative robots. Traditional industrial robots are large, dangerous machines that operate in fenced areas separated from humans. The new generation of collaborative robots, or cobots, integrate AI and can work safely alongside humans. They have sensors that detect human presence and stop instantly if someone gets too close. They can learn new tasks by observing humans performing them instead of requiring complex programming, and they can adapt to variations in the environment instead of requiring perfectly controlled configurations. The new generation of collaborative robots, or cobots, integrate AI and can work safely alongside humans. They have sensors that detect human presence and stop instantly if someone gets too close. They can learn new tasks by observing humans performing them instead of requiring complex programming. And they can adapt to variations in the environment instead of requiring perfectly controlled configurations. In education is a sector that has remained relatively unchanged for decades, but AI is beginning to transform it in fundamental ways. Case 1. Personalized adaptive learning. Khan Academy, a nonprofit educational platform used by millions of students, developed a system called Khanmigo, powered by AI. It doesn't just answer questions, but dynamically adapts content to each student's level and learning style. If a student is struggling with fractions, the system doesn't just give them more fraction problems. It analyzes exactly where the confusion is. Perhaps it's the concept of common denominator, or perhaps it's spatial visualization. Then it adjusts the learning sequence, provides alternative explanations, uses different analogies, and offers exercises specifically designed to close that particular conceptual gap. In pilot studies, students using adaptive systems improved their performance up to twice as fast as in traditional instruction. It's like having an expert personal tutor available 24/7 for each student. Case 2. Intelligent automatic assessment. Grading essays, open response exams, and complex projects consumes enormous teacher time. Systems like Gradescope use AI to assist in this process. For math or science questions, they can evaluate not just the final answer, but the reasoning process, identifying exactly where a student made a conceptual error. For essays, natural language processing algorithms can evaluate argumentative structure, coherence, use of evidence, and even writing quality. They don't replace teacher evaluation, but provide an initial review and immediate feedback for students. Teachers report saving 3 to 5 hours weekly on grading, time they can invest in direct student interaction or curriculum content improvement. Case 3. Early identification of at-risk students. Universities like Georgia State University use AI systems that analyze multiple indicators: class attendance, participation in online forums, formative quiz grades, time dedicated to study materials, and even navigation patterns on learning platforms. The system identifies students showing patterns associated with dropout or failure risk, sometimes weeks before it's obvious. This allows early intervention by academic advisors. Since implementing this system, they've increased their graduation rate by several percentage points, representing thousands of students completing their studies. In legal services have historically been one of the professions most resistant to automation. But even here, AI is creating significant changes. Case 1. Contract review and analysis. In large corporate mergers and acquisitions, legal teams spend weeks reviewing thousands of contracts, looking for problematic clauses, hidden obligations, potential risks. This process, called due diligence, can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. Companies like Cura Systems and LawGeeks developed AI systems that can read and analyze contracts at amazing speed. The algorithm identifies clause types, extracts key terms like expiration dates and financial obligations, detects unusual or potentially problematic language, and generates structured reports. In a comparative study, 20 experienced lawyers competed against an AI in reviewing 5 standard confidentiality agreements looking for specific problems. The lawyers took an average of 92 minutes with 85% accuracy. The AI took 26 seconds with 94% accuracy. This doesn't mean AI replaces lawyers. It means lawyers can dedicate their expertise to high-level strategic analysis instead of repetitive document reading. The work becomes more interesting and higher value. Case 2. Judicial outcome prediction. Systems like Ross Intelligence and Lex Machina analyze millions of historical judicial cases to identify patterns that predict outcomes. If you're litigating a particular case, AI can search similar cases, analyze which arguments worked, identify judges with specific tendencies in certain case types, and even predict success probabilities. This allows lawyers to make more informed decisions about legal strategy. Is it worth going to trial, or is it better to negotiate? What precedents to cite? Which argument lines have more probability of resonating? Case 3. Legal access democratization. Do Not Pay, a startup that describes itself as the world's first robot lawyer, helps ordinary people with routine legal problems. It can generate dispute letters for traffic tickets, help cancel hard-to-cancel subscriptions, generate basic confidentiality agreements, and even assist with asylum applications. For millions of people who can't afford a lawyer for minor problems, this represents access to justice they didn't have before. These cases we just reviewed aren't experiments or pilot projects. They're real implementations generating massive value today. And importantly, there are common patterns in all these success stories. The 5 patterns of successful implementations. After seeing all these cases, it's time to step back and ask ourselves, what do successful AI implementations have in common? And what are the mistakes that make projects fail? The answers are found in the 5 patterns of successful implementations. Pattern 1. They start by solving a specific business problem, not implementing technology. Notice that none of the cases we saw started by saying, we want to use machine learning. They started with, we need to detect fraud faster. We want to give credit to people without history. We need to reduce production defects. The business problem comes first. Technology is the solution. Many projects fail because they do the opposite. They hire data scientists, buy AI platforms, and then look for where to apply them. It's like buying an expensive hammer and then looking for what to nail. It doesn't work that way. Pattern 2. They have high-quality data in sufficient quantity. All successful cases had one thing in common: access to relevant, clean, and abundant data. Nubank had millions of transactions. Zebra Medical had millions of annotated medical images. Netflix has viewing behavior data from hundreds of millions of users. AI is like an extraordinary chef. It can create incredible dishes, but it needs quality ingredients. If your data is bad, inconsistent, or insufficient, There's no algorithm that can save the project. Pattern 3. They integrate AI into existing workflows, not create isolated new processes. Successful implementations didn't say, here's an AI tool, use it. They integrated AI directly into processes people already use. The radiologist doesn't have to open a separate AI application. Suggestions appear directly in their image visualization system. The loan officer sees AI analysis integrated into their usual work platform. If your AI solution requires users to completely change how they work, adoption will be low, and the project will fail regardless of how good the technology is. Pattern 4. They have clear success metrics defined from the start. MasterCard measures fraud reduction and false positives. GE measures reduction in unplanned downtime. Nubank measures approval rates and delinquency. Everyone knew exactly what metrics to improve and could measure impact objectively. Failing projects frequently have vague objectives like improve efficiency or be more innovative. How do you measure that? Without clear metrics, you can't know if you're succeeding or failing until it's too late. Pattern 5. They start with limited pilot projects before scaling. None of these companies implemented AI across the entire organization from day one. They started with a specific use case, a small team, limited geography. They learned, iterated, adjusted. And only when they proved it worked, they scaled. This minimizes risk and maximizes learning. Once these successful patterns are identified, it becomes clear how to avoid the 5 fatal mistakes. Mistake 1. Magic AI syndrome. Thinking AI will solve problems automatically without effort or organizational changes. AI is a powerful tool, but requires data, infrastructure, process changes, and staff training. It's not magic dust you sprinkle on problems. Mistake 2. Starting too big. Trying to transform the entire company with AI in the first project. This results in projects that take years, cost millions, and frequently fail before showing value. Better, small projects with measurable impact in 3 to 6 months. Mistake 3. Ignoring data quality. Rushing to build models without first ensuring they have sufficient, relevant, and clean data. 80% of effort in AI projects is data preparation and cleaning. Many underestimate this. Mistake 4. Not involving end users from the start. Technical teams build beautiful solutions that nobody uses because they don't solve real problems or are difficult to integrate into existing workflows. End users must be involved from day one in defining requirements and validating solutions. Mistake 5. Not having a maintenance plan. AI models aren't traditional software you install and forget. They require continuous monitoring, periodic retraining with new data, and adjustments when patterns change. Projects that don't plan this from the start end up with models that degrade their performance over time. To help you evaluate where you are, here's a simple framework of 5 levels of digital maturity. Digital maturity framework. Level 1. Initial. Mostly manual or analog operations, data on paper or disconnected systems, little automation. Level 2. Digitized. Information digitized, but processes remain manual. Documents in the cloud, but workflows not automated. Level 3. Automated. Key processes automated with business rules, integrated systems, automatic reports, but still without predictive or adaptive capabilities. Level 4. Predictive. Use of data and analytics for prediction and optimization. Machine learning in some processes. Ability to anticipate problems before they occur. Level 5. Transformed. Business model fundamentally redesigned around digital capabilities. AI integrated into core operations. Continuous learning and adaptation. Completely new value creation. Most organizations are at level 2 or 3. The cases we saw today are examples of level 4 and 5. And you don't have to reach level 5 to start seeing value. Each level brings incremental benefits. Now it's time for you to do a self-assessment of your own organization or work area. We're going to do a practical exercise where you evaluate your digital maturity, identify relevant use cases, and plan a quick win project you can implement in the next 3 to 6 months. Now comes the most valuable part of this session: applying everything you learned to your own reality. You're going to complete a quick 3-part assessment. Part 1, digital maturity level. Using the 5-level framework we just saw, honestly evaluate at what level your organization or department is. Note specific evidence that justifies that evaluation. For example, if you say level 3, what specific processes are automated? If you say level 2, what information is digitized, but what processes remain manual? Part 2, use case identification. Now think about your specific industry or function. Of all the cases we saw today in the 6 industries, identify 1. What case is most similar to a problem you face? 2. What would you have to change or adapt to implement something similar in your context? 3. Do you have the necessary data? If not, where could you obtain it? Part 3, quick win plan. Identify one small AI project you could implement in the next 3 to 6 months. It must meet these criteria: solves a specific and measurable business problem, has available or easily obtainable data, can show results in less than 6 months, doesn't require massive organizational changes, has executive sponsor who would support it. Be specific. Don't write, improve customer service with AI. Write, implement chatbot to answer the 10 most frequent customer questions, reducing call center load by 20%. Perfect. What you just did is the beginning of a real transformation roadmap. Many organizations spend months on expensive consultancies doing exactly this. You just did it in a few minutes, because you now have the context and the correct mental framework. Excellent work in this session. We covered extensive ground today. Let's quickly recap the most important points. First, we clarified the critical difference between digitization, process digitalization, and true digital transformation. We understood that AI is the catalyst that finally makes real transformation possible at scale. Second, we explored 6 industries with real and concrete cases. We saw how AI is revolutionizing healthcare with assisted diagnosis and drug discovery, how it's democratizing finance with fraud detection and credit access, how it's personalizing retail with recommendations and optimization, how it's transforming manufacturing with predictive maintenance and quality control, how it's improving education with adaptive learning, and how it's making legal services more accessible. Third, we identified the 5 common patterns of successful implementations. Start with specific business problem, have quality data, integrate into existing workflows, define clear metrics, and start small before scaling. Fourth, we learned the 5 fatal mistakes that make projects fail. Magic AI syndrome, starting too big, ignoring data quality, not involving end users, and not planning maintenance. And fifth, you evaluated your own organization and identified concrete opportunities. That exercise you did isn't theoretical. It's the beginning of a real project you can implement. Most important thing I want you to take away today: digital transformation with AI is not an IT project. It's a business transformation that requires executive leadership, cultural change, and rethinking fundamental operating models. You don't need to be a giant company or tech native to start. All the cases we saw began with small, limited projects. The key is to start. And you're already ahead of most people simply by being here learning. Knowledge is the first step. Action is the second. In our next hour, we're going to delve into something absolutely critical: ethics and bias in artificial intelligence. We're going to explore why AI systems can perpetuate and amplify human biases, what the concept of responsible AI means, what the privacy implications of data are, and how you can ensure AI implementations in your organizations are ethical and fair. This isn't an optional topic or good intentions. It's absolutely critical for long-term success of any AI initiative. Companies that ignore these issues end up with public scandals, lawsuits, and loss of trust. Additionally, several countries are already implementing AI regulations. Europe has the AI Act. The United States has proposals in multiple states. And in Latin America, regulations are beginning. You need to understand this regulatory landscape. For those who want to deepen before the next session, here are some optional activities. Activity 1. Search for a case study of AI implementation in your specific industry that we didn't cover today. Read about the project, what problem they solved, what challenges they faced, and what results they obtained. Activity 2. Refine the quick win you identified in the exercise. Add more detail. What specific data do you need? Who would be the stakeholders? What would be the estimated ROI? What resources would be required? Activity 3. If you work in an organization, have an informal conversation with someone in an area different from yours. Ask them what processes in their work are most frustrating or time-consuming. Often, the best AI opportunities come from understanding pain points of other departments. Activity 4. Start thinking about biases and ethical implications. If you implemented the AI project you identified, what could go wrong? What unintended biases could be introduced? What groups could be negatively affected? Prepare to discuss this in the next session. Thank you for your active participation and commitment to learning. Remember, knowledge without action is just entertainment. Take what you learned today and start applying it. Small, consistent steps generate massive transformations over time. See you in the next hour.